Today we'll be talking about a thrilling new slasher movie coming out in 2024, Getaway. A family's vacation to a remote getaway takes an unexpected turn when they discover the island they're on is inhabited by cannibals. Also, wait for U-turn in the plot that will blow your mind. The movie opens with a chilling scene. We see an old-fashioned village where a woman is holding a child in her arms. Suddenly, chaos breaks out as the villagers begin attacking her. The scene abruptly cuts off, leaving us wondering what just happened. Fast forward 200 years, and we're introduced to a modern-day family planning a vacation. The family consists of Richard, Suzanne, and their two children, Jesse and Sam. They're heading to an island for a relaxing getaway. While on the way, Suzanne reads an article about the island's dark history. Back in 1824, a terrible flu outbreak struck a village called Quantum. The villagers were quarantined for 9 months, but it stretched to 2.5 years. With supplies running out, they began starving. Out of desperation, some resorted to cannibalism, even targeting children. This horrifying past gave rise to a gruesome tradition on the island. The ancestors who survived passed down this story, and even today, the villagers perform a play to reenact the tragedy. Hearing this, the family is understandably unsettled, but they continue their journey. The family eventually arrives at a restaurant. While eating, they notice a couple arguing intensely. Amid the tense atmosphere, Suzanne orders food, but something feels off. Afterward, when Sam and Jesse step outside, they discover a dead pigeon in the shed. Watching this, their mood is pissed off. Back inside, the restaurant owner asks where they're heading. Richard tells him they're going to the island to witness the festival. Hearing this, the owner gets visibly alarmed. He warns them that the festival is dangerous and advises them not to go. However, Richard brushes off the warning, confident they can handle themselves. As they leave for the ferry, Richard realizes he forgot his wallet at the counter. He rushes back to retrieve it while Suzanne and the kids wait. When he returns, they all board the ferry, where they're met with the eerie stares of the locals traveling to the island. Among the passengers is a drunken man, Johann, who bluntly tells them they don't belong there and should leave. But the family ignores him, determined to enjoy their trip. Why they are ignoring the warning? Are they happy to become dead meat? Upon reaching the island, the family notices something more weird because villagers look at them as if they are their delicious food. Also, there are no children anywhere in the village. They later learn this is because, according to village customs, children were killed and eaten during times of famine. The village chief confronts them, asking why they've come. When Richard explains they're here for the festival, the chief insists they leave immediately, warning them this is no place for tourists. Richard defends their decision, saying they rented a house from a local named Mats and have every right to stay. Just then, Mats arrives and assures the villagers that he rented out the house for the festival. However, the chief remains wary and reminds Mats about the true nature of the festival. Mats then takes the family to the house. While the house seems nice, something about Mats feels off. He's overly friendly with Jesse, making everyone uncomfortable. While settling in, Suzanne opens up to Mats. She reveals that her mother was born on this island in 1974. After marrying her father, she left the island, but Suzanne wanted to visit her mother's birthplace, which is why they're here. Mats shares that he used to live with his mother, who passed away 10 years ago, leaving him alone in the house. He then shows the family to their rooms, but his behavior toward Jesse becomes increasingly suspicious. Mats eventually leaves the house, giving the family some space, but what happens next will leave you speechless. As they settle into the house, they realize there's no phone signal, leaving them unable to make any calls. Later, when Jessie goes to take a shower, she suddenly hears strange noises behind the mirror, as if someone is watching her. Alarmed, she checks the mirror but finds nothing unusual. That night, as the family sleeps, strange noises wake Richard and Suzanne. They peek outside and find villagers gathered outside their house, holding a torch. Without a word, the villagers throw a dead raccoon at their doorstep and leave. It was a warning to leave. Confused and alarmed, Richard demands to know why they're doing this, but the villagers remain silent. An old woman among them seems particularly satisfied with their actions. Next morning, in the kitchen, Richard speaks with Jessie. She whispered that someone might be watching them. She explains how she felt watched while showering the day before, as if someone was behind the mirror. Richard reassures her, but tells her to stay cautious. Unbeknownst to them, Mats is spying on their every move. He set up hidden cameras throughout the house, with a control room in the shed where he watches the footage obsessively. There's no doubt he is a pervert who loved to watch girls without clothes. Later, Richard confronts Mats about the villagers' behavior and the dead raccoon incident. Mats casually explains that the villagers were likely warning them to avoid the festival, as outsiders are not welcome to witness it. He hints that the family should leave, but avoids giving any clear answers. Richard, now worried, shares everything with his family. Meanwhile, back in the village, chaos strikes. The restaurant owner and his wife are found brutally murdered. A detective arrives on the island to investigate, suspecting Johan, a local drunkard, as the killer. Johan, known for his violent tendencies, had recently gone missing. The detective questions the villagers but is met with resistance. The old woman leading the village asks him not to disrupt the festival, but he refuses and presses on. The detective later interrupts a play rehearsal and demands answers about Johan. The old woman claims they haven't seen him, and the detective leaves the village. Unbeknownst to him, Johan is still on the island, hiding with the villagers' help. Jesse and Sam visit the village restaurant, but the locals' hostile stares make them uncomfortable. Things escalate when Sam throws objects at them, forcing them to flee. As they try to escape, masked villagers appear, signaling their imminent doom. They notice a coffin with the words "liar" written on it, seemingly meant for them. Terrified, the siblings rush back to their house. Back home, things get even creepier. Jessie discovers that her undergarments are missing. She suspects her brother at first, but he denies it, claiming he's not interested in such things. Jessie then recalls the feeling of being watched in the bathroom and realizes someone must have been spying on her. She draws a heart on the mirror to test her theory, which Mats, watching from his control room, reacts to with disturbing excitement. Mats was behind this, who loves Jessie undergarments. The villagers gather for a meeting led by the old woman. She delivers a chilling speech, reminding them of their ancestors who survived the plague by resorting to cannibalism. She laments that the festival has become meaningless over the years, without the consumption of human flesh. This year, however, will be different. With tourists in their village, they plan to revive the old ways, kill the outsiders, and feast on their flesh. Though some hesitate, the old woman persuades them by invoking their ancestors' sacrifices. The story takes a dark and twisted turn when Matt visits the old lady. She reveals to him that a detective has come to the island to investigate the murder of the restaurant couple. The villagers suspect that one of their own may have been involved. The old lady warns Matt that inviting tourists to the island was a grave mistake. Outsiders should never be allowed to witness their sacred festival. However, since the tourists are already here, they must serve their purpose. She orders Matt to lure the family to the festival so they can be sacrificed and eaten as part of the Quran Tan ritual. Before Matt leaves, the old lady hands him a box of cookies, instructing him to give them to the tourists and ensure they eat them. These cookies, she hints, are vital to the real game that will unfold during the festival. When the family returns home, they discover the cookies left on their kitchen table. Thinking little of it, they decide to try them. Sometime later, Matt sneaks back into the house to find the family unconscious from the cookies' effects. Grinning with anticipation, he corrects his clothes and creeps into Jessie's room. As he begins unbuttoning her shirt, ready to take advantage of her vulnerability, Jessie suddenly awakens, revealing she had only pretended to be unconscious. The rest of the family storms in, catching Matt off guard. It's here that the shocking truth is revealed. This isn't an ordinary family. They are a group of serial killers who deliberately came to the festival to prey on the villagers. Richard, Suzanne, Sam, and Jesse mercilessly attack Matt, stabbing him repeatedly until he dies. The family didn't come to this island to enjoy a quiet vacation. They came with the intent to kill, knowing no one would ever investigate the remote village. Armed with knives and an insatiable bloodlust, the family sets out to slaughter the villagers. They infiltrate the festival, blending in with the crowd while chaos erupts. One by one, they butcher the villagers in grotesque and horrifying ways. Screams fill the air as the festival turns into a bloodbath. The old lady watches the carnage unfold, bewildered and unable to comprehend what is happening. She tries to rally the remaining villagers to fight back, but it's too late. The family's meticulous planning and deranged determination ensure they have the upper hand. Amid the chaos, Sam and Jesse approach the lifeguard station. Covered in blood, they play the part of terrified victims. When the lifeguard opens the door to help them, they embrace her, only to kill her moments later. The old lady and her son retreat to safety. Desperate to salvage the festival, she insists on going to Matt's house, determined to fulfill the ritual by consuming the flesh of the tourists. Reluctantly, her son agrees and follows her. Before this, he moves to the security guard and finds her dead. He shot the flare gun in the sky so that police could approach them and assist them. In a chilling twist, Richard devises a plan to lure the remaining villagers. Pretending to be victims, the family infiltrates the hideout where the surviving villagers are gathered. They cry and plead for help, convincing the villagers that they are allies. While the villagers are distracted, the family strikes, brutally killing everyone in the room. The old lady, however, manages to escape with her son. Later, the detective is also informed about the emergency on the island. Without wasting time, he rushes to figure out the problem. Beside, the serial killer family has gathered the dead bodies of the village and burned them into ashes. Later, the family sits together, laughing and joking as if nothing happened. Their cold, psychopathic nature is on full display. Richard, however, grows irritated with Sam's teasing and stabs him in the neck, killing him instantly. The rest of the family barely reacts, brushing off the incident as they continue their twisted bonding. It's clear this family thrives on violence and chaos, and nothing will stop them from pursuing their dark desires. While she was running away with her son, she told him they needed to go to Matt's house. Her son agreed, and together they headed there. Meanwhile, the family reached Matt's shed and found his control room. There, they discovered how Matt had been spying on everyone. They saw footage of the old lady and her son hiding nearby. To lure them out, the family decided to play a trick. When the old lady approached, one of them pretended to cry, acting like they were helpless. The old man, feeling uneasy, panicked and shot the person in the stomach. The old lady stepped forward, ready to attack, but the family revealed Matt was killing them. The old man ran to check another room and found Matt's dead body. Realizing he'd been tricked, he tried to leave, but Richard attacked him. In the scuffle, the old man shot Richard and even cut off one of his arms. However, the blood loss was too much, and the old man collapsed and died. Richard, now severely injured, returned to his family with his severed hand. He announced that he had killed everyone except the old lady, who would be easy to finish off. The old lady overheard this and, shocked, realized the truth. The family were the real murderers. She grabbed a knife and threatened to eat one of them, saying it would fulfill her purpose for the festival. But just as she lunged to attack, the detective arrived and shot her. She died on the spot. The family quickly started acting like innocent victims. The detective believed their story and reassured them they were safe now. He took them away on his boat, thinking he had rescued them. When the police team arrived, they found Johann and assumed he was the killer. Without hesitation, they shot and killed him, unknowingly letting the real culprits, the family, get away. If you like this movie, then don't forget to subscribe to the channel.